All right, strap in, everybody. Today we're going deep on Scientology.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a mountain of interviews and articles here,
Hmm.
and we got to figure out just what Scientology is,
Right.
what they believe, and why it's always stirring up controversy.
It's a big one for sure. Lots of opinions flying around.
Yeah, it is.
We'll break it all down nice and clear for you.
Yeah, we're going to need all the clarity we can get
Absolutely.
because this one starts with kind of a head scratcher.
Right.
Scientology is all about reaching a clear planet, right?
Yeah.
But the guy who started it all, L. Ron Hubbard,
Hmm.
he was a science fiction writer.
He was.
And his past is so wild, even his own church disputes some of it.
Yeah, you could say he had an interesting life. Hubbard was a big personality,
Yeah.
explorer, Navy vet, and then, of course, he created Dianetics.
So just a guy with a lot of interest then.
Well, that's where the controversy kicks in. Even his basic biography is up for debate.
Oh.
Some people say he was this awesome explorer, war hero, even claimed he was in command of ships during World War II.
Wow, sounds impressive.
But here's the thing, official Navy records, they say otherwise. And get this, the Church of Scientology says those records are fakes. They say it's a cover-up to protect Hubbard's real missions as a secret agent.
They're claiming the official records are lying to protect him.
That's what they say.
That's strange.
It is. It makes you wonder about how Scientology creates their stories, you know?
Yeah, it's like rewriting history.
It does raise some questions.
So are there more disputed stories?
Oh, yeah? This pattern keeps popping up.
Okay, so what else?
Besides the military stuff, Hubbard was super into the occult.
Really?
In the 40s, he met up with John Parsons. This guy was big in the Ordo Templi Orientis.
Ordo Templi what now?
It's a mystical group, goes by OTO.
Okay, and they did what?
They even did a ritual together called the Babylon Working,
What is that?
trying to summon a goddess, basically.
Whoa, hold on. Occult rituals.
Yeah, things get pretty wild.
Okay, this is getting interesting.
And this is where we see another pattern. Questionable business dealings.
Like what?
Well, Hubbard and Parsons, they did some kind of business venture.
Huh.
And Hubbard ended up leaving. Parsons totally broke. Took his money and his girlfriend too.
Wow. So not a good guy.
Not exactly. Maybe a sign of things to come.
Okay, so there's more.
You bet. His second marriage was a mess.
Oh, no.
Full of abuse accusations. He even kidnapped his own daughter and said his wife was a communist.
This is sounding less like a spiritual leader and more like, I don't know, a scandal.
Yeah, definitely not your typical guru story.
So where does Dianetics even fit into all of this?
So after all that drama, all the failures and turmoil, Dianetics pops up.
Okay.
Think of it like a mix of therapy and, well, some people call it pseudoscience.
Okay.
This is where he introduces engrams, these mental scars from trauma, and the clear state. Like, you're free from all those bad memories.
So occult rituals, failed businesses, and then suddenly he's a self-help guru. What made Dianetics so popular?
It made big promises, said it could solve your problems, make your life better, get you to this clear state through something called auditing.
What's that?
They hook you up to this e-meter thing, and this auditor asks you questions while the machine tracks your emotional responses.
Huh. Did it actually work?
That's a good question, and it's really debated. Dianetics got super popular.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
But scientists were skeptical, and there were rumors about shady sales practices.
It's interesting.
And the first time they tried to show off a clear person in public,
Yeah.
it was a total disaster. Really hurt Hubbard's credibility.
Wow. Did he just bounce back from that?
Well, there's another messy divorce.
Oh, geez.
This bizarre FBI complaint about his wife.
What?
And then finally, Dianetics kind of morphs into Scientology.
So what happened? Why the switch?
Some think he created Scientology because he lost control of the Dianetics movement, you know, with all the legal issues and the money troubles.
So how did he go from clearing minds to, starting a whole religion?
Well, Scientology, it goes deeper than the mind. It's all about the spirit. They believe in thetans, these immortal beings that are trapped in this cycle of reincarnation.
Reincarnation. Okay, so we're getting into some deeper stuff now.
Yeah, things are about to get a lot more complex.
Right, I'm ready?
And a lot more expensive, too.
Oh.
To move up in Scientology, you got to climb this bridge to total freedom.
A bridge?
It's like a ladder, with each step having its own courses and fees.
I see. So you got to pay to learn more.
Exactly. And the beliefs get more and more esoteric as you go.
Like what?
Oh, you know, stuff like the operating thetan levels.
Operating thetan levels.
They call them OT levels for short.
Okay, OT levels. What's that all about?
It's like leveling up in a video game, except with your soul and a lot of money.
And the beliefs.
Oh, yeah, they get pretty wild. At OT level 3, they introduce Xenu.
These are new.
According to Scientology, 75 million years ago, Xenu was this galactic overlord.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and he brought billions of people to Earth, stacked them around volcanoes, and nuked them.
Okay, now this is sounding like science fiction.
Right. Their souls, they call them body thetans. Well, they're stuck to humans now and cause all sorts of problems.
Do you believe this actually happened?
The church says it's a big revelation.
A revelation.
And that's just one of the wild things you learn as you go up those OT levels.
I can imagine.
But remember, all these revelations come with a hefty price tag.
So it's not cheap to get enlightened.
Not at all. The higher you climb that bridge to total freedom, the more expensive it gets.
And it just keeps going.
Oh yeah, there's always another level above. Some people who left say it's a never-ending cycle of payments and promises.
So it's like a spiritual pyramid scheme?
Some people would say so.
Huh. Definitely not your typical spiritual path.
It really makes you wonder if it's about enlightenment or something else entirely.
That's a good question.
Yeah. One we'll definitely keep digging into.
Yeah, I think we'll need to.
We'll be back soon with more on Scientology's practices and what it's like to actually be a member.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it. All right, we're back. And, wow.
Yeah.
That Xenu story.
Pretty wild. Right.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
It is.
So we've got these thetans, these OT levels, a whole, like, sci-fi universe.
Right.
But how does this all actually work in a Scientologist's life, you know?
Right. So that's where we see how these beliefs actually play out.
Okay.
And how the organization operates. Remember, the bridge to total freedom.
Yeah, the latter thing.
Right. It's not just a metaphor. It's a whole structured system with specific steps.
Okay.
And each level, it comes with a cost.
You mentioned it could get really expensive.
It can.
Like hundreds of thousands.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Wow.
A lot of that's tied to auditing.
Those one-on-one sessions with the e-meter.
Exactly, where you're working through your engrams.
Yep.
And as you progress, those sessions get more intense and pricier.
So like paying for therapy, but with a Scientology spin.
Oh, you got it. And the higher you climb, especially with the OT levels,
Yeah.
the beliefs and practices get, well, weirder.
Weirder than Xenu.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Some people who left have described it as strange, even disturbing.
I'm still kind of hung up on Xenu. Is there more to it?
Oh, yeah. There's a whole lot more. The cosmology expands, you know,
Right.
with ancient galactic civilizations, cosmic wars,
Wow.
the whole origin of the universe.
So it's like, I don't know, Star Wars, but for Scientologists.
It's a good analogy.
Do they take it literally? Or is there some room for interpretation?
That's the thing. It's tricky. The church is super secretive about their higher level stuff.
Right.
Some believe it literally. Others see it as metaphors.
Okay.
But the lack of clarity, it can be a problem.
How so?
Well, critics say that ambiguity, it lets the church control information,
Right.
keep that sense of mystery, makes it harder to question things, especially when you've invested so much.
Yeah, financially and emotionally.
Exactly. You're less likely to rock the boat.
Right.
So is there any way to verify any of this stuff about the higher levels?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Not really. The church keeps it all under wraps. Most of what we know comes from former members who left and spoke out.
And they just, tell all?
Yeah, but often at great personal risk.
Wait, risk. Like it's dangerous to leave Scientology.
Remember those policies, disconnection and fair game?
Yeah.
There can be serious consequences for anyone who leaves or criticizes the church.
Oh, wow.
Some describe being followed, harassed, even legal threats.
So it's not just about leaving a religion. It's like
Yeah.
facing real-world consequences.
It's scary stuff. Those policies create a climate of fear.
Yeah.
Makes it really tough to speak out or leave, even if you're unhappy.
This is starting to sound less like a religion and more like,
Yeah.
I don't know, a cult.
That word gets thrown around a lot. It's complicated. Not everyone agrees on that label.
Oh, okay.
Some say it's a legit religion with valuable teachings.
Mm-hmm.
Others say it's harmful, built on manipulation.
Right.
It's important to understand both sides.
Yeah, it's not black and white.
No.
No.
What about those other groups tied to Scientology?
Like?
The Citizens Commission on Human Rights? Narconon?
Yeah. What's their deal?
They're part of Scientology's strategy to influence society, promote their views.
Okay.
CCHR, they're all about criticizing psychiatry and pushing for alternatives to traditional mental health care.
Why psychiatry specifically?
Scientology sees psychiatry as their enemy.
Really?
They believe enneagrams, those mental scars, they can only be addressed through auditing.
Not therapy or medication.
Nope. They see psychiatry as a threat.
So it's about competition then?
Yeah, controlling the narrative around mental health.
I see. And narcotin?
That's their drug rehab program.
Right.
They say it's drug-free recovery, but there's been criticism about how effective it is
Okay.
and about how closely it's tied to the church.
So CCHR and narcotin,
Yeah.
they seem separate,
Right.
but they're really just extensions of Scientology.
That's right. Promoting their ideology, expanding their influence.
Critics say they're fronts for recruitment, fundraising.
They do.
It blurs the lines between religious activities and,
right.
well, the controversial stuff.
It does.
So they're trying to have it both ways.
Right.
Positive public image,
Yeah.
but then engaging in activities that are, well, ethically questionable.
That duality is at the heart of the controversy.
Yeah, it's confusing for sure.
Scientology can be appealing and alarming at the same time.
Definitely depends on how you look at it.
Exactly.
Okay, so this organization,
Yeah.
they've got controversial practices,
Right.
and they're under scrutiny.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any actual legal challenges going on?
Oh, yeah. Tons of legal battles over the years.
Right.
Some recent ones involve accusations of human trafficking, forced labor, even assault. These lawsuits have brought a lot of attention to the allegations of abuse and exploitation.
So the pressure is building.
It is. Hard to say what it means for the future of Scientology, though.
They've been through this before, huh?
Oh, yeah, they've weathered some storms. But this increased scrutiny,
Yeah.
combined with, more and more people knowing about their practices,
Right.
it could have a big impact.
Through all of this, there's one guy we haven't talked much about,
Who's that?
David Miscavige. He seems pretty important to understanding where Scientology is today.
He's absolutely key.
Yeah.
Miscavige took over after Hubbard died back in '86,
Okay.
and his leadership.
Yeah.
It's been a time of both growth and controversy.
Okay, let's break that down. Who is this guy? How did he shape Scientology?
Dave Miscavige joined as a kid, rose through the ranks fast.
Wow.
He was close with Hubbard,
Uh-huh.
and really important in taking control after Hubbard died.
Okay.
He's known for being intense
Really?
and totally dedicated to Scientology's ideology.
So he's been the face of Scientology for, what, decades now?
Pretty much. The leader, the spokesperson, the guy driving their strategies.
Okay.
He gets credit for expanding Scientology internationally and giving it a more modern image. But there's the controversy.
Right, like what?
He's been accused of being authoritarian, controlling.
Oh.
Lots of former members call him abusive, vindictive.
Yikes.
And then there's the whole thing with his wife, Shelley.
What about her?
She vanished. Hasn't been seen publicly since 2006.
Hold on. His wife has been missing for over a decade.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
The church says she's fine,
Okay.
working on a special project,
Mm-hmm.
but they won't give any proof that she's okay or where she is.
So it's a mystery.
It is. It's fueled a lot of speculation and concern.
I can imagine.
It's one of many mysteries around David Miscavige and his leadership.
So you've got this powerful leader,
Right.
accused of abuse, shrouded in secrecy.
Yeah. And his wife disappears.
It's like something out of a movie.
It's bizarre and troubling.
Yeah, it is.
And it makes understanding Scientology even more complex.
So David Miscavige, he's a fascinating guy,
Oh, for sure.
but enigmatic too.
Absolutely.
There's no denying his influence on Scientology,
He shaped it in a huge way.
both the good and the bad.
Yeah, growth and controversy.
You know, through all of this,
Yeah.
the thing that keeps coming back to me is the secrecy and control.
It's definitely a recurring theme.
From their policies to their structure to silencing dissent.
Right.
It's all about control and conformity.
You got it.
We haven't even gotten into the money stuff.
Oh, yeah, the financial side is big.
Alleged exploitation, the
Yeah.
pressure to donate,
Yeah.
those crazy course fees, auditing sessions.
Yeah, it adds up.
Sounds like a system designed to, I don't know, take as much money as possible.
That's a serious accusation.
Yeah.
One that many former members and critics make.
Mm-hmm.
They describe feeling pressured to contribute financially, sometimes to the point of bankruptcy.
Wow, just to progress spiritually.
That's the claim.
It doesn't seem very spiritual.
It definitely raises questions about the church's motives.
Yeah, it's a far cry from enlightenment.
Critics say this focus on money contradicts their whole thing about being a religion that helps people.
It's a pretty stark contrast.
It is.
It highlights that tension between their outward message
Right.
and how they actually operate.
Absolutely. It's important for anyone thinking about joining to look beyond the surface.
Definitely.
You know, consider the risks and the costs.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot, but ultimately,
Yeah.
listeners need to do their own research.
Yeah, I agree.
Approach Scientology with a critical mind.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Don't just take our word for it.
Right.
Explore the resources, the different perspectives.
Exactly.
Make an informed decision.
Absolutely. We'll be back in a bit to wrap up this deep dive and leave you with some final thoughts.
All right, so last part of our Scientology deep dive.
Here we are.
We've gone from these wild beliefs to, well, all the controversial stuff.
It's a lot.
What does it all mean, you know?
Right, that's the big question. On one hand, you've got this system that says it's all about self-improvement, enlightenment, even superpowers.
Right, right.
But then there's the dark side.
Yeah.
The abuse, the financial exploitation.
Yeah, and silencing critics.
Right, all that.
And those policies, disconnection, fair game, that's tough to square with any idea of religious freedom or ethical behavior.
It is.
How can you say you promote freedom while controlling people's lives like that?
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
It does.
How much control is okay in a belief system?
Right.
When do the group's rights step on individual rights?
It seems like Scientology is always pushing those boundaries.
They do.
Testing the limits.
Yeah, it's fascinating, though.
What is?
Why people stay, you know?
After all that.
Yeah. Smart people, successful people, celebrities even. Why do they stick around when there's so much evidence of harm?
Some sources say it's the higher level teachings. The promise of, like, ultimate knowledge and power.
Like a secret club with special knowledge,
Yeah.
and there's the indoctrination, the pressure, the fear of leaving.
Right, right.
Remember cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
When you invest so much in a belief, you don't want to hear anything that challenges it.
It's like they've built their whole world around Scientology. Questioning it would mean, like, starting over.
Totally. And Scientology is really good at reinforcing those beliefs.
How so?
The constant auditing, the focus on groupthink, being isolated from outside ideas.
Right.
It creates a strong sense of belonging, of purpose.
But belonging comes at a cost.
It does.
We've heard about families being torn apart, people losing everything,
It's hard.
lives shattered by the church.
It brings us back to the leadership.
Yeah, Hubbard and Miscavige.
Hubbard had charisma. He told these compelling stories,
Okay.
but he created a system that could be used for control.
And Miscavige.
He's continued that authoritarian style.
Yeah.
It's hard not to see similarities with other cults, you know?
Yeah, I see it.
The charismatic leader, the ideology, the rewards and punishments.
It's a pattern.
It is. That's why it's so important to recognize those red flags.
Yeah, with any group,
No matter how good it sounds.
blind faith is dangerous.
It is.
You got to question things.
Absolutely.
So what's next for Scientology?
Hard to say. They're good at bouncing back.
Right.
But things might be changing.
How so?
The #MeToo movement, more awareness of cults,
Yeah.
all the lawsuits,
They're facing a lot of scrutiny,
more than ever before.
and the internet's a big part of that.
Huge.
Yeah.
Former members sharing their stories, journalists investigating. It's creating a global network of critics.
It feels like a turning point.
It does.
Their secrets are coming out, their authorities being challenged.
Even if Scientology disappeared tomorrow,
Yeah.
we'd still have a lot to learn from all this.
Like what?
How to spot those patterns of control, manipulation, exploitation.
In any group, any ideology.
Exactly. That's the key takeaway.
Critical thinking, bro.
You got it. Question everything. Do your research. Don't be afraid to challenge things.
Don't be swayed by charisma, promises, or fear.
Right. You're in charge of your own beliefs and decisions.
It's about empowerment,
It is.
making informed choices.
In every part of your life.
That's a great point. This deep dive,
Yeah.
it wasn't about giving all the answers,
Right.
but hopefully it's got people thinking.
Thinking critically.
And on that note,
Mm-hmm.
we'll leave you with one last thought.
Okay, shoot.
If you could ask L. Ron Hubbard or David Miscavige one question,
Ooh, good one.
what would it be?
That's something to think about. Thanks for going on this journey with us.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
It's been a wild ride into the world of Scientology.
It has. Stay curious, keep learning,
Absolutely.
and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.